My next guest I had the privilege to sit down with is on a journey of healing and learning. So within this episode, we talk a lot about exactly what does that mean for them. So this is a really great episode. I hope that you enjoy.
Them boys, them boys, amplifying, transmitting color voices, yeah, we here making noise, making noise, Visibility equals possibility, you know we them boys, them boys,
Welcome to Dem Bois Podcast. I'm your host, Sean Aaron, he, him, his, and my next guest is a chef and food enthusiast. They are also a spouse and a parent to a 10-year-old daughter and a paw parent to a 5-year-old dog. They are on a journey of healing and learning. Welcome to the show.
What's up, man? What's up?
I'm so happy to have you here. So we've heard lots about you. So for folks who don't know, their best friend Kales was on episode 85 and they talked about you throughout the whole show, mentioning you in good ways. So I'm so glad that you're here so we can dive into your story. So you want to go ahead and introduce yourself for folks who don't know who you are?
Okay, yeah, you know, my stud name is Maxx, right? But my real name is Statria. That's a mixture between my mom and dad's middle name. My mom's middle name was Demetria. My dad's middle name was Stacy. Statria. Boom, that's me. I'm from Charleston, South Carolina. I'm a Pisces. I love cooking. The reason why, I like the introduction because I am a chef. But the reason why I love cooking, my grandmother was a chef. She retired cooking. So, and my great grandmother had 17 kids. And so we came from, you can't cater that, So, people learn how to cook. So I came from a very self-taught family in cooking in particular. So I was exposed to that real early. What else about me? Like you said, I'm married. I've been with my wife for 6 years. We've been married for a year. We got a daughter. I got a puppy. We just moved to the A, probably like going on 2 years. Still 50-50 about it, but it's definitely for sure a difference between my hometown. Right now, like you said, I'm just trying to find myself and figure out what I want to do and how crazy the world is. And I feel like millennials dealing with is, okay, the plan that was taught to us isn't working, what do we do next, and yeah, pretty much it.
I love that. So what are your pronouns?
Pronouns, I'm pretty gender fluid, whatever you feel.
Okay, cool.
Whatever you give.
Cool. I like your little introduction, how you say your stud name is Maxx. You are the first person that I've ever heard come on the show and introduce themselves in that way. You have a reason why you say it that way?
Oh, it was like a little trend like a few months ago. And I believe it was in the A. I feel like a lot of the interviews I saw, but like they were like predominantly queer events. They'll just walk up to, masculine presenting people and, be like, hey, what's your stud name? And then they'll be like, B. He'd be like, what's your name? Brianche. He'd be like, okay.
I love that. I'm like, damn, I'm gonna have to think like, what was my, well, shit, I guess Sean was my stud name. I just stuck with it. So, I mean, that's what's up. I love that. And so I like to ask guests like, how did the name choose you? So how did that name Maxx? So you mentioned how your name from your mother and your father, how that name chose you, but how did Maxx choose you?
So when I met Kels in high school, he went by K Smooth and I went by S Max. Then I went to the military and was just called Maxwell. And so when I just got out, I was like, Maxx.
So it's just the derivative of your last name.
Yes, my last name is Maxwell.
Got you. I love that. Okay, so how does the name Maxx though? How does it resonate with you? Because yes, outside of the military, yes, they call you by your last name. I don't want to get into that. I don't know how I feel about that. But how does that feel for you? Like to take that name and own that and be like, nah, I'm not. I'm gonna cut that well off and I'm just go by Maxx.
To be honest, it was more so of dealing with Statria was, a handful in life, and my family calls me Tria for short. So the only time I really had to say Statria, like people my age, I went to school with said it fine, right? But, like teachers and just dealing with it, I was just like easier just to be like Maxx, especially when you meet people in louder places and you be like, what's your name? Statria, what's your name? So I was like, boom, let's just go ahead and, cut it off to Maxx,
I love that. So the name Statria, how connected are you to that name? Do you have any dysphoria around that name?
I don't. I think I don't think I'm a complicated person, right? If you know me, but I think giving my presentation, I think I'm like adding on my complicated name, I feel like it's just more strenuous, I guess, if you say it like that. So I love my first name. I just never felt like having to go through the rigmarole. I feel like I did that long enough, and then I was just like, it wasn't appealing anymore when I got out of the Marine Corps. I moved back home, and I was just like,
That makes
Maxx.
sense. And I realize how like sometimes, and even with like previous guests, like sometimes when we talk about our names, we either take like a derivative of our birth names, or like we do it in ways to make other people feel comfortable. Right. And so you just mentioned of like not wanting it to be a strenuous process. So like how does that feel to like, yo, like even if you saying you love your name, right? How is it that we sometimes cater ourselves to other folks and how other folks may answer us or may take on our gender journeys or whatever? Like how does that feel for you, like to say that, like, I love my name but I don't want to go through all that?
So when I moved back home, have you been to Charleston?
No, just transferring on the flight, so never just touching down to visit.
I love my hometown, but Charleston, South Carolina, it is what it is, red state, a very black and white city. And so really to get money as a cook, I would have to go to predominantly white areas. And one place I was working, I started wearing waves. I started doing waves. So, I would come to work with a cap on. And so not like a bonnet, but wave cap or a do-rag, because I was getting the waves down. And like dealing with that aspect around white people, and they just make funny jokes like that, right? I just feel like I just wanted to avoid dealing with that. And like white people are different, and they have presumption, especially like older people, what your name is and what your race is. And so I guess I never want to see, not only see ghetto, right? It's not even like that deep, but I feel like statria in those spaces, especially being a black female in a predominantly male establishment or dominant job field, statria was just put it to Maxx. Let's just use Maxx.
That's so wild to me. Like, and I appreciate you for sharing that. Thank you for being vulnerable and sharing that. It's just so wild to me because just yesterday I saw somebody sent me a post asking me what I thought about this, but it was a pilot. Black young dude was a pilot, and he had locks, and he had a mouthful of gold. And he was commenting because somebody in the one of his comments said, I wouldn't trust somebody flying first of all, they said his locks were braids, so we obviously know that wasn't a person of color. But anyway, they said that I wouldn't trust somebody flying me that had braids. And I'm thinking to myself, like, what the fuck does that have to do with the schooling he went to, the grades he got, passing his flight test, and getting you from point A to point B? What the fuck does that have to do with his braids, right? And so that's to know that we have, as black folks, we have to, code switch or numb ourselves down just to fit into somebody else's program. That's just so wild to me. And not to say I'm not taking anything from you and what you went through, right? But I'm just saying, like, how we have to minimize ourselves for somebody else's comfortability. That shit is so wild to me. Like, what are your thoughts on that?
So I saw this video on the internet, whatever, and it was this gentleman, and he was saying how a parent, like let's say it's a parent child, and another person, just like the other person say, oh, the kid's doing a good job, and the parents just like, oh no, they all right, but they bad, like it's always like dismissed with like a counteractive with like a negative response. And how he was like saying how it was derived from slavery, and how like, it was just like, oh, hey, he's not he's strong. You know what I'm saying? He tried to pick up a brick and he was horrible at it. How we have to like downgrade ourselves to like not be sold, basically, or like looked upon like, oh, he's gonna be a seller, So So when I thought about that, it was the craziest perspective to have. And I was just like, oh, that's crazy. Like how like there's certain things embedded in us. And like I never had like a necessarily a negative experience. Most people would be like, your name is beautiful. I've never heard that before. But it's been like a working experience. And it's like, after like the fourth time, like this teacher I've known for like 2 years, like you still like stuttering, walking by. I'm just like, okay, And so it's just like work, and it's like, and it stems from like how we have to do that to either, like you said, diminish ourselves or make ourselves look different.
And when I'm hearing you, listening to you, I'm like, white people are fucking exhausting. Like, they fucking exhausting and they don't get it. And it's so crazy that every other group of folks, we can be in a room, me and you and some other ethnicities or other groups of folks, and some white person do something stupid. We all look at each other. It's just a universal language because we know that white people just be whiting. Like they just do dumb shit. It's exhausting. And so, that's a good point that you brought up of how we diminish ourselves and how generational, over generations that has become a thing. Sometimes we don't even know why we picked that up. And so I was just thinking there's a writer, author, her name is Joy DeGroy. I can't remember what the name of her book was, but anyway, I've been to one of her talks before and she talked about that, why why we downgrade ourselves. And it was also, like you said, in slavery, right? So if you have a strong boy that gets son that can do something, you would downgrade and say, oh, no, he's scrawny, he ain't nothing. Why? Because they was protecting their children and not be sold. Oh, so if he seems like he's good or he's smart, oh, that's a hot commodity and my son is going to be taken away from me, right? And so over time, we do these things and we don't even know why. But I'm just going to say they just fucking exhausting and I don't got time for that. So I feel you. I don't got time for that shit. I just want to go to work.
So exhausting.
Yeah, I want to go to work, get my coins, cook this food, let you eat this shit, and go home and buy my business, right? But that's so wild that I love the name. I'm glad that you love it. And it's just, but either way, if you want to be Maxx, we Maxx. We doing Maxx, that's it, right? And so that's just respecting it. But white people fucking exhausting. Anyway, so I want to ask you, tell us a little bit about your gender journey. Like, at what point in your life did you realize or just have an idea of who you were?
So I feel like love women since day one. Since I could love something, that's what I chose. I was like the don't touch me stud. And, that lasted for a short period of time. Yeah, short period of time. Like I was just like, oh, you know what I'm saying? I want something too. Shoot, I'm putting all this work. I deserve a reward. Shit. You know what I'm saying? Shit, I'm tired. But I feel like, you remember like the what's the thing called? Dick Dyke. I feel like that was a lot. So I feel like from like 18 to like, like 16 to like 19, 20, I was like closet bi. Like I was fucking with guys, but nobody knew. Like this is right here. This is the first time I even said this out loud. Like wow. It was a very closeted thing. Then when I got out of the military, I was just like, do the fuck I want to, And this straight guy asked me, I knew him. I knew his brother and he was like older, but we went to I was like a freshman. He was like a senior, but I knew his brother because he was like a junior. And I was in the Marine Corps at the time. He walked up with me. He was just like, yeah, I'm straight. And to this day, he has a wife and family or, whatever. Right. He was like, yeah, I would want you to penetrate me. I was like, what? And it was crazy that he asked me that. And I was like, that's interesting. When I'm presenting, does it matter to you? And so that opened my eyes to oh, maybe everything isn't as black as white as, what it seems. And I shouldn't give a fuck because he didn't give a fuck. I was like, oh, okay. That's interesting that you would feel comfortable to ask me that, So since then, my attraction to men publicly became more open. But I never not liked men. It was just a closeted thing or not an ashamed thing, but so don't nobody know. And today. I'm married, but I definitely would consider myself pan. It's about what's on the inside. It's not really about, what's on the outside. That never was even really important to me. But yeah, now it's just like, it's whatever. I don't care. As long as you're not low key, high key white. I mean, anything goes.
Can't just do white. Hey, thank you for being vulnerable and sharing that. Like, a lot of folks don't share that. So first I want to go back though, because you said a touch me not stud. I know what that is because I was once a touch me not stud as well. And I feel you. Like, once you get with one person or whatever, and you're like, wait a minute, I've been holding out this all this time. The fuck? I've been missing the fuck out.
Listen.
Explain to people though, for people that don't know, who may be listening, who maybe didn't identify as a stud or they don't know what the term means. You mind explaining that to folks?
So do not touch me stud, which is probably like not prevalent now, was a stud that absolutely didn't receive any type of physical pleasure from their partner. And it was like the crazy thing about it was like you ain't finna touch me. Like, it wasn't even like this is just what we do, or this is step one. It was like, yeah, fucking my girl, or ain't nobody touching me. And like I said, that lasted very short for me, because I was like, this is where did we even get this from? Like, who told me this? Like, I mean, like, let me just no, like.
Yeah, and that was like an introductory conversation. You meet somebody, hey, how you doing? I don't want to be touched. Like, that was like the first thing you would say.
Yeah. Okay. Not a pronoun. Hey, don't touch me.
Right, exactly. Thank you for explaining that. So, and I used to be like that as well. And I have no fucking idea where I got that from either, right? It was just passed on. I actually do know where I got it from. My first girlfriend, she was just strict binary rules. She like, if you a masculine person, you shouldn't want to be touched. I was like, oh. And so I just went on with that. That was what I knew, and that's just what I stuck with for a very long time. It took many, many years actually to get out of that. But then I want to be like, what difference do it fucking make? That's another thing, right? What difference do it fucking make? What you do in the bedroom with somebody ain't got shit to do with other people. Who the fuck gonna know but you and that person? That's a hard life to live, to give and not receive. Man, the fuck?
We're about to fight. Yeah. Get off me.
For real.
Put your clothes on. We're finished.
Yeah, that's so wild.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Wow.
What a wild time.
Yeah, that's wild. And it probably, I don't know if it exists now. I don't know if people still living, but under those standards, but that's tough as fuck. Right. And it just doesn't make for healthy dynamics. I feel that's just my own personal thoughts. It doesn't make healthy sexual dynamic is what I should say. Mm-hmm. Right. And if you're not because you're not exploring your body and you're not learning what it is that you like or do not like. Maybe you try it and you're like, well, nah, I actually don't like that. And then that's okay. Right. You say, I tried it, but I don't like it. But to say, don't touch me, I don't like it, but you've never actually done it. And just to think, like, where do people get this from? Because even like cisgender men, right, in relationships, they might like they gooch licked or touched or they ass fingered or whatever, right? Like, people do these things. So it's like, but who has to know? That's your own goddamn business, right? So.
The Visibility Equals Possibility collection has new designs and a new designer, me. My name is Zion, pronouns he, him, his, and I was on episode 53 if you want to go back and check that out. But I am the second trans man of color to design for the Visibility Equals Possibility collection. Dem Bois believes visibility equals possibility, and so do I. I am honored to take part in this groundbreaking collection and look forward to seeing what else the collection has in store. My designs represent having confidence and courage to be bold with your visibility. The design, in my mind, says, take the caution you need, but I am here. I hope you all enjoy the designs, and be sure to purchase some designs from me or Emilio to support gender-affirming programs by Dem Bois. Find the amazing designs of the Visibility Equals Possibility collection and other merch items that I've designed on the Dem Bois shop at dembois.org. That's DEMBOI as in igloo s.org. And remember, visibility equals possibility.
what's really strange is when I was not strange, but as I was growing up, I've always been a masculine person, masculine the center woman when I identified as that. And I was a stud and all of that. It always blew my mind, like when cisgender men would try to talk to me, because I was like, to me, it just felt weird. Like, why would you? I always thought, like, why would you want a masculine woman? It always made me nervous. So when did you get to that point in your life where you felt comfortable with that?
So I always was comfortable with it. It just evolved. Like I like, because I feel like I'm 50-50 about it. Like, are you gay? Like I feel like are these particular men, particular men, I don't really have I guess I've been out of the game for so long, so I don't have like the science to it, but it definitely like evolved and changed for me. But when I moved back home, like when I got the Marine Corps, I was like, I need to live my life how the fuck I want to. And it was never emotional. So it never, it's a very physical thing. So it was very, hey, bye. So I was like 20. I was young while it turned. People popping that pussy. So it was just in and out. So it was never like more than that. I don't think I know. I would never be in a relationship with a man, but physically, that's kind of just all it would really boil down to. From the beginning to the end.
So what would be the difference between physically being with a man, and then being in a relationship with one? Why not in a relationship? I know you married.
Well, let me be particular. I guess particularly a cis man.
Gotcha. Okay.
Particularly a cis man. Gotcha. I wouldn't.
Because
I wouldn't change. I wouldn't change. Like, you would have to be okay with dating a nigga.
Got that. Okay. So, yeah. I mean, I'm sure that there are men. I mean, there are probably men out there, right? That are okay with that. So it's just finding that person, but not to say that. And I'm not trying to put that out there because you are married, right? But it's just for conversational purposes of just wondering like the nuances by like, oh yeah, I would fuck a dude, but I wouldn't date one. And I was also thinking that maybe it's just the different dynamics, right? Because especially if you always dated women, it's the dynamics of dating a man, a cisgender man or a man, it's kind of different, right? And so it's like not being used to the dynamics or not feeling comfortable with the dynamics, or maybe even not even knowing how to navigate that in a way because it's not something that you necessarily been used to, right? So I
went out. I had one like little public. He was okay, but he was going through a time in his life, but. So I've had one good experience. Well, the one experience I did have, it was cool. He was just like, somebody had walked up to him and was just like, oh, you wear it? He was like, yeah, that's me. And I was like, okay. And a hat, pants, shoes, and a shirt.
Nice. So I want to ask you in the Marines, how was that for you with your gender identity? And I'm assuming when you went into the Marines, this is just my assumption. Maybe you could correct me if I'm wrong, but you identified as a stud when you went into the Marines.
Mm-hmm.
So how was that experience for you? Because military is rigid and strict as fuck. So how was that experience for you with your gender identity inside the Marines?
It wasn't prevalent. So I went straight out of high school. So like, I guess my top-notch physical being self was then. I was in marching band. That's a sport. I don't care. That's a workout. So because them toes, them ankles, them heels, that's a workout. But so I was physically fit. I was invited to the boys' club a lot, and then they was just like, "Oh no, you're a whole woman." I'm like, "Yeah, don't get it twisted. That's weird." So there for a short period of time, but I was part of the boys. I was part of the guys. It's so. Being a woman and female is hard if you're not basically like top notch in shape, because they think you fuck your way to the top. It's a boys' club for sure. And so the fact that I was part of that, I really didn't have to. I had to take myself out of it, or be socially pushed out because I was a part of it. But it's crazy because I was in JRTC all 4 years in high school, and Don't Ask, Don't Tell ended the year before I went in. when I think about that, I'm just like, oh dang, it's so crazy. Like people be like complaining about like queerness and like gay people on TV. I'm just like, I'm 31 and I had to think about, hey, do I have to hide my life in order to get into the military?
So how was it? Did you have to really like water yourself down at all, or like, was there
No, so
anybody?
the Obama came through.
Okay.
So that's the year Obama probably was. So when I went in, Obama was on his second term.
Mm.
Maybe leaving his first. So I went like 2011. Was it 2000? No, he was in his second. He got elected 2007, so he was in his second term. So, I feel like queerness and gayness was like, that's the beginning of like, okay, we have to accept what it is.
Until the shit now, until what we have now.
Okay.
So, are you still enlisted?
No.
Okay. I want to say thank you for your service. Thank you for like sacrificing your time. I mean, you pretty much sacrificing your time, right? And ultimately, it's people sacrifice their life, but you're really sacrificing your time and your life to your everyday for somebody to be yelling at you, telling you what to do, where to go, what to do, all that. So I appreciate that. But I'm imagining now what it would be like for folks that's in now with this administration. Do you know anybody that's still enlisted?
I got one homeboy still in. But everybody is pretty much out.
So do you still know the climate of the military now, even though you're out? So meaning like if somebody was listening right now that's in, like what would be your words of advice for somebody that's in there right now under this administration?
Don't take my advice.
Okay. All right. You don't even want to give it?
Don't take my advice. Because if you're already in it, what's going on is crazy, and I feel like it's so much going on. I really don't even know what's going on with the military right now. I think the military is crazy. You are a property of the state. You know what I'm saying? Going in, I was young, thinking about it now and like how everything operated and moved. I'm just like, that's so crazy that I willingly signed up for that. The only advice I would have, it depends. It really depends what branch you into. Like Marine Corps is just very boys club, old tradition. But I feel like every other branch is pretty lax. But if you're in the Marine Corps and queer or anything like that, I definitely would say get out. Get out.
Like the movie Get Out.
Yeah, get out. And you can always go back. You know what I'm saying? Just it's 4 years, right? You can leave in good standing and
come back, re-enlist.
Bring you on in. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Not a lot of people go in the Marine Corps. So they're open arms. Everybody try to go into the Air Force, that's why you can never get in touch with them.
You and the Marines are a different caliber of person. I know a few Marines and they just different. They built kind of different. Yeah. So I want to ask you, as you were growing up, what did your support system look like?
Kels was a big part of that. So I'm very family oriented. My mom's side of the family is so many of us. I saw these folks, 9 times out of the year. That's when we was matching Sunday dresses. And everybody was going to church on Sunday and going to Big Granny house to eat Sunday dinner and drink and have a merry time. I was very much, my mom told me, everybody was saying you was going to be gay. Tree going to be gay. She was like, and when I told her, she was like, girl, I know. I'm like, okay. Like, it was literally, my coming out was less than paragraph. So, support through there was, tremendous, and how I love definitely comes from being around and surrounded by so many people. My great grandmother, she just linked to like 90 births, from all the way to great grands. So support has been tremendous. Kels has been a big part of that especially in high school, and who I am today. I don't think the path I'm on would have been without him, if I'm saying that right.
Yeah, you are. And so we've heard a lot about you. And I'm gonna mention that again. Kale's talked a lot about you, mentioned you a lot in episode 85. So folks want to hear that, go back and listen. But you mentioned that Kale's was a big part in your life. You want to talk more about that and like what was those those important pieces that Kale's added to your life that allows you to be here today?
So when we met, it was like 2000. So we were sophomores. So this could have been like, 2009, 10, something like that. 2009. So like, queer wasn't even a thing, right? It was just lesbian, gay, dyke, F word, very middle, very selective words to describe a whole slew of people. So it wasn't really much around. So when we met, I was to be, able to be my authentic self, especially in like a super white space. That was not necessarily a hard transition, but it was a transition for me from going to from Charleston, where I was around Black people. Like 8th grade is the first time I've been in a group of white people, just like, I don't even know what I'm looking at and what this is, what are all these white people doing in this one space? Him always wanting my advice and leaning on me and making me feel wanted. I wouldn't even be able to sit here and I'm not even capable of putting it all into words, how much time and what particular things and particular seasons. And, we was beefed out for like a year or two and hot right back to it. You get what I'm saying? And it wasn't nothing. We didn't apologize. This nigga called me. I picked up the phone. It's crazy because I talked to my mom about it. This nigga called a few days later. Being my authentic self, or having just even knowing that I could, right? Like, even if it wasn't authentic self 24/7, right? It was just knowing that I had the option to be my authentic self or go to someone that knows why my authentic self is now, why 31 Maxx can say these things and I can say these things to you and you can be like, oh yeah, blah, 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 10 years ago. Like, yeah, right? And make the connections for me. He's been able to give me the advice that, very particular and specific advice in my life based off our relationship, bro. That's my nigga, bro. I think us being on different sides of the spectrum when it comes to a lot of things, like, we love the same, but our personalities are really kind of different. And it always just meshed well. It always meshed well, always went well, to where I'd be like, okay, no more niceness. Or he's just like, okay, sit down. It's always a great balance. I don't know if people have friends like that, you know what I'm saying? I feel like I've never really seen people have friends, especially being from Charleston, from like Black people that don't move anywhere, and how like people just don't have like long lasting friendships, and it's just makes me grateful for it,
Yeah, and I read an article not too long ago of how hard it is for folks in their 30s to make new friends, and how folks, like, just like you saying, like, people don't keep the same friends. And so if you're 30 and you don't really have friends, how hard it is to integrate new people into your life. And it's based on trust. In your 30s, you don't really trust people like that. And it's just a lot to unpack. You're like, I got 30 years to talk about. Like, it's hard to unpack with people, right? And so I feel like it's a blessing. And what is it, how much of a blessing it is that Kales was here on the show and now that you're here, right? And so even just that, right? Because after he talked, he's like, yo, I'm gonna tell my homie, to get on this show too, right? And so just to know that, that's important for our survival. to have that one person or at least one person that you can lean on and talk to and that can help you grow as a person, right? And so I want to ask you, like, if you have any advice for folks that don't have that, what are ways that folks can build relationships with folks to inspire to have friendships like that?
Not wasting time. Like, I feel like you should take people for who they are and what they are. And if they're not like really aligning to that and what you want to do,
so
put your hands up with it.
Yeah, be done with them. Don't waste your time with people. Yeah.
And just like whatever you want. I feel like if people, I know I'm not going to be friends with somebody on just the conversation that we're trying to have, right? And if it's just like not aligning, like if you're talking about something particularly I'm just not interested in, or so I was serving for a while, and I worked with like a lot of younger people and just chilling with them, whatever after work, and they was watching baddies. And I was just like, we cool at work, but then like outside of work, I was like, they was into it. Like, it wasn't even like a background, you got people over, you just got the TV on. Like, they was like, we was not talking, we was passing the blunt, and they was just into it. And I was like, oh yeah, this is crazy. I was like, this isn't like something, like, it was cool, like it was fine, like we can smoke, that's what I went over there for. But I feel like if you'd be like, okay, like there's no need to waste my time.
So it wasn't no engaging conversations. Y'all didn't talk about politics. Y'all didn't talk about anything engaging, how you feel, how's your mental health, none of that.
They was like, they was young while turn. I think they, youngest was like 19.
Oh shit. Okay.
Was like 20. Yeah, they was real young. Fake IDs.
Oh shit. Okay.
Can you take me to the store and give me some Rillos?
Oh shit. I'm like, why the hell was you there then?
No, you live up the street match. I was like, yeah. Shoot. I don't discriminate. I mean, I'm wild in turn too. I'm just not to sit here and watch baddies with you. As soon as that was shit when I was like,
yeah. So, yeah. As soon as the blunt was gone, he was like, all right, then I'm out. Yeah.
I'm out.
Yeah, I feel it. I think it's I don't even know how to say this for myself. I will say I have I won't say maybe. I have one person in my life that we kind of on the same page. And this is a person that I met recently. And so we've developed a relationship over time. And so we kind of on the same wavelength, right? We like, what you reading today, or what you reading this week, or how's your mental health, or how's your family? Like, shit that means something to me. At 44, I don't want to talk about no bullshit. I'm just, I never thought I would say that, but I'm at an age where like, listen, I don't want to talk about no bullshit. And, let's talk about some real shit that's really going on in life that's going to really affect me. Hell, we might talk about a 401k. I don't know. Some shit that's really going to, I'm saying? Some shit that's really going to apply to my life. But I think it's based on my personality too. I'm not a fuck around type of person. I'm very serious. And that's only because of how my life went. And I always had to be an adult. I was an adult when I shouldn't have been an adult. So I've always had to handle shit, take care of shit. So me goofing off and fucking around, I'm goofy and I like, I'm a dramatic and all that, but I don't like to fuck around type shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I like somebody that's on that same page, right? So just like you saying, I'm not about to sit down and watch baddies with you. I'm sorry. Like, that just ain't going to be what I'm into. So, you know what I mean? So you definitely have to find somebody that's just like you and don't waste your time. And I think one thing that's really important is to have strong ass boundaries. Boundaries with motherfuckers is important.
Man, I'm kind of bad with that. I'm not gonna lie.
Okay, all right, okay, that's okay.
I feel like that's something.
That's all right. We a work in progress. We all a work in progress. Yeah, for sure. Because I'm not all that good with it either. I said it, but I ain't all that good with it either. Especially with romantic people. I'm horrible with it. I'm just in general. I'm just horrible with it. So I get it, but it's the know that it needs to be done, right? But you ain't nobody gonna fuck around with you when you serious, right? Yeah.
Yeah, as long as it's a hard line. Like, I feel like it's just like, okay, a little gray boundary, getting a little darker, and it's just like, okay, all right, hell no.
Yeah, I'm done with you. Second. Yeah, for sure. Thank you for tuning in to this week's episode. So from whatever platform that you're listening to this week's episode on, please be sure to give us 5 stars. And if there's something within this episode, whether it's the guest or something that I said, or maybe the guest said that resonated with you, be sure to go and leave us a comment on this episode or leave us a comment on the show. So what happens is, if you feel like it resonated with you, I'm sure there's someone out there who hasn't even heard about Dem Bois Podcast. It may resonate with them, and actually it could save someone's life. To hear these stories, right? Because we believe that visibility equals possibility, but there isn't any possibility if we aren't visible. So if you go and leave comments, the more comments you leave, the more 5-star ratings you leave, then this podcast will be available to more folks to see. And so we want to be visible. We want to be out there. We want folks to know that we're here and that our stories are out there for them to listen to. And so if you could do me a favor, please go ahead and rate the show or leave a comment. Until next time, see you on the next episode. I want to ask you something, and it may be a little personal. If you don't want to talk about it, let me know. So you are on the journey of healing and learning. And I want to tie that into that. You lost your mother 2 years ago. And first I want to offer my condolences. I'm sorry, about the loss of your mother. I want to say, and being that, that was your support system. You say your mother was like, I knew it. You know what I'm saying? And like you had that love from your moms. I want to say, how has that started your journey of healing and learning? Like how has that been for you?
To be completely honest, it's been progress, but it's more of I've been putting it off. So the progress is little simple shit, right? Like seeing a mom and daughter that doesn't make me upset. Watching funerals on the TV, like just watching the show, just bust to a casket at a funeral. Or like me and my wife, we watch a lot of crime shows, so it's where they open the door where they keep the bodies at and stuff. They open the doors. You see a lot of that. So like I've made progress in dealing with things that can trigger me, but dealing with her being gone, I ain't gonna cap my nigga that's packed up somewhere and waiting to be open in a therapy session. My wife has been the reason why I'm even able to even sit here and talk to you about it. She's been holding me down and making sure I'm able to have the space and the time to do whatever, whatever that can just help me move forward.
Yeah, thank you for sharing. I want to ask you, so are you currently taking advantage of mental health services, or is this something that you plan to do?
It's something I plan to do. I don't know. I've been debating if I want to do it physically or verbally. And I guess like getting into boxing or martial arts. Or going to a therapist. I went to Kels found me a grief group. And it was like 6 months. I went to that, got like a little book and stuff. So that helped tremendously. Able to write down things and reflect enough to where I'm not like in the bed, sad and capable of not providing or doing stuff for my family that needs to be done every day.
Do you have any siblings?
Yeah.
Okay. So are they a good support system for you? You all share the same mother. That's what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
No.
So
yeah.
You just going at it by yourself. With your wife, of course, but like you going at it by yourself and just not having like siblings to tap into and say, hey, like let's talk about mom or anything like that.
Yeah.
Got you. I got you. How does that feel for you though? And as far as your journey, like how does that feel to be kind of isolated with it?
So I saw another clip and it was a young lady and she was talking about grief. No. Was she talking about grief? I believe she was talking about grief. How she was upset that her siblings didn't they just didn't come together. And that's something we talked about, the grief, and grief grouping, how we portray how people should be treating us with grief and stuff like that, and how you got to kind of put that to the side, blah, blah, blah thing. But she was basically saying, like, if your parents never knew how to be siblings, they're not gonna be able to teach you how to be a sibling. And my mama didn't fuck with her siblings like that. And me and my brother was not even really that close, I feel like I know you're my brother, and it was okay. Like, it wasn't even like we beefed out, or we just never was that close. So I guess I did think we should have got close, especially his circumstances. He was there with my mom when she passed away. They both were staying in Charlotte, and I drove from Charleston to Charlotte. So they lived 5 minutes up the street from each other. So I was like, you in the city, literally all my family's in Charleston. Like, I have to ask, what is your last name? Where you from? All my family in Charleston. So I always could, and I had friends, but it was just where we from. So it was he in a city where none of us live up there. So I did assume we would get closer and that he would be somebody I leaned on. But I mean, shortly after, I was like, okay, this isn't an option. And so it bothers me. I guess I just more so I expected something different, but it doesn't bother me that it isn't happening.
Are you the oldest?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I was gonna say, as you were talking, I was thinking that people grieve differently. Sometimes people grieve and they need to be with other people, and some people I'd rather just grieve on my own, right? And so there's just a really understanding, how people choose to grieve, right? And just finding ways that helps and works for you. I'm kind of the same way. Like me and my brothers, we don't talk either. And it's no love lost. We just don't fuck around with each other, and that's okay, right? And if something happened to my mom, my birth mother, I lost my chosen mother last year, so I definitely understand that grief.
I'm sorry about that.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. And that was I called her mama because that was the mother that I knew. My birth mother didn't really. I won't go into that, but anyway, we had a long estranged relationship. But anyway, just knowing that, me and my brothers, we don't talk either. And so if something happened to my birth mother, I can't even say if I would expect them to be there. When I was having mental health issues, they wasn't there. And I'm sure some shit that they go through that they think that shit I wasn't there. So it's like, sometimes, death brings people together, and then sometimes it don't. And so you got to really learn how to kind of maneuver that in a way. And because at the end of the day, we're responsible for our healing. Right. Yeah. And so you just really have to hone into that. And really, I encourage you to find ways that you can work through it. Right. Because holding it in, one day it's going to come out and you're going to be like, fuck, I didn't want that shit to come out right now. You know what I'm saying? And so it's just really finding ways to kind of on that journey, learning what it is, even if it is boxing and you getting to knock somebody the fuck out while you taking out your frustration and your anger or your sadness, or you know what I'm saying? Or if it is going to the therapist and I need to work some shit out because there's some, obviously when we lose parents, there's something left that we didn't get to finish. Right. And so just to work through that. So I encourage you. I'm an advocate for mental health services. So I want to say you could do both. Right. You can do boxing and you can do therapy. Yeah. Why not? Right. Yeah. And so I encourage you to really go and work on that and work through that. Right. And find healthy ways to grieve and to honor your mother in that way.
Yes.
Yeah. So
it's her right here. You can see it.
Yeah, I see that. Yeah. Yeah. I love that. So for folks that can't see, it's a necklace. It's a circular necklace with your mom's picture on it. And there's wings on the outside of it. I love that. Mm-hmm. At first I thought the wings was a part of your shirt, but I realized when you moved, the wings didn't.
Oh yeah, move it.
Yeah. So I love that. And so she always with you. Is there anything how was your relationship before she passed? Was there anything last conversations that you remember that stood out to you the most?
So, the last conversation I had, so she passed away Saturday early morning, 2 a.m. The last conversation I had with her was on Thursday, and I was at work. she broke her ankle. I think that was either her first or second day back. And I was just calling and check up on her. And the way, I can't remember now what she said in particular, but she said goodbye, like a way that she usually doesn't. But I took it as she was focused. She was like doing work and she was like behind. Like I can tell like how she was talking, that she was just saying it. It sounded like she was like in her professional mode, like something she would say professionally and not like to me. And it gave me like the eeriest feeling. And she passed away a few days later. So that was like fucked. Like thinking back, I was just like, dang, I felt that shit. And because when she said it, I was like, I stopped. I remember vividly I was about to walk back into my job. I was in the back smoking. I was about to walk back into my job and I just stopped. Like when she said it, I hung up and I stopped and I like looked to the right. I was like, that's weird. And I just, continued on my day and she passed away a few days later.
Hey, this is Sean Aaron, the host of Dem Bois Podcast. Are you enjoying the podcast so far? Great, I'm glad that you are. Would you consider donating today to help support the continuation of this podcast? As you know, this podcast aims to serve as a platform to highlight and amplify the voices of trans men of color and share our transition stories. The podcast not only aims to amplify trans men of color voices, but it also raises awareness around our lived experiences. You would like to donate? Where can you donate? Great. I'm glad that you asked. Link in our description will take you directly to Network for Good, whom we've partnered with in order to collect donations for the podcast. Or you can visit our website. On the website, click the donate button, and from there, you are able to donate directly to the podcast. All donations are tax deductible. What does the donations go to? Oh, I'm glad that you asked. Your donation will help to support our production costs. We are working with Jasmine from Pink Lady Productions that brings you this awesome content. And also, we pay our guests an honorarium. Pay our guests an honorarium? Yes, we do. Why? Because as trans men of color, we would like to support and uplift each other and honor the time that's given out to come here and share their stories. So if you love this podcast, share and donate. See you on the next episode. Take care. Knowing who you are right now in this moment, the Maxx who you are sitting in front of me right now. How proud would your mother be of you?
She'd be very proud of me. She'd be very, very proud of me. I was gonna catch a charge at least twice before her funeral. And strangely, we talked about her death a lot. So like her not even being here, she's a third of the reason why I'm able to get through my grief, because we just talked about it and how she would want it and what she would want me to do if she was to suddenly pass away. And like I'm saying, we had this conversation in high school. My mom's a Capricorn, so she's very organized, same shit, same folder. Like half the shit I got in here is from 2000. Like same shit she got. So like she'd be like, hey, is where my bills at? She's been telling me all this stuff at a very young age. So she'd be for sure very, very, very proud of me and how I've transitioned and my attitude, the way I look at things, and financially.
That's an important piece, financially. I love that you said that. And then a lot of folks, we don't talk about that enough, of what it feels like to get older and to financially be okay. Because it's different when you're in your 20s and you just fucking shit off. But you get to a point where you're like, nah, I know my mom would be proud of me because I'm set. I love that. So, is there any like things or bits of advice you would like to give anybody listening, like a last little moment of advice or anything?
I feel like personally, I guess it's very particular because this is something I'm going through. I feel like with the internet age we're in, the things that's happening on the internet, I feel like anything I feel like people are just so money hungry or just trying to be better, right? However that looks for them. And I feel like we all need to do our research on things. I feel like research, anything new you want to do, anything you haven't known, research and learning. I feel like I'm researching and learning. It's just like, how do I not know these things, you know? And I feel like this might not be a very general, very particular to me advice, but researching and doing my own due diligence and finding out the truth or anything new I want to do is way more important than taking away from a 15-second video.
It's so true. And some people just want information fed to them. And they like, oh, this is the truth. Mm-hmm. They comment on it, and it's like, yo, you don't even know if that's true or not. You ain't did the research. You ain't looked up shit. And we got to think like that's how they trying to get us, right? They just want to feed us information. So they just want to depend on people not going to go do their research and just falling in for whatever. That's how commercials work, right? Same way, just like feeding us information and hoping that people bite on that shit. And people do, right?
And people do, man. People do.
That shit is so wild to me. And that may be an age thing as well, too, though, right? Because we close in age, we're not. I don't know. Social media wasn't really that prevalent when you were in high school, and right? Am I correct?
Yeah. So I'm like, what's the damn? Like the sidekick. I'm sidekick era, Razor era.
Shit.
So you know, Razor. You know, that's when like you can't be on the, you know, it's 10 cents per milligram, you know what I'm saying? You're getting a beating because you done hit the internet button. It's just like, where is this $20 charge from the internet? So, yeah, I'm definitely not I'm from MySpace. I'm from Facebook. The only people that saw your feed was people that you went to school with. Yeah. I was saying the other day how social media was on the internet. Now the internet is on social media, which I feel like is the difference between then social media is just like, that's just what it is. It was social media. And it was, most of the time I was on a desktop. So it's something that wasn't even part of the outside world. It was, I'm in the house being social on the internet, and then that's kind of it. But now it's readily available. So that's why I'm just like, research.
Yeah, for sure.
And because I've been like, the ancestors telling me this is right, I don't care. And then like come across another video, and then I was like, oh, that's contradicted. And then did a research, and I'm just like, damn. Yeah. Now I'm not about to pay like $50 for something, and that shit is just like they was advertising, and then I actually like did the research, and it took me 10 minutes to be like, oh shit, this is like it's like a scam.
Yeah. Especially now, I feel like like with this administration and just like with AI and all these things, anything can be anything. And so it's just really, I believe that just really I'm going to say we both then are from an era where you had to research. I remember going to the library, you had to research. You had the card catalog and all that bullshit. So you had to really go get 4 or 5 books to figure out an answer, right? It wasn't no just click or ask Siri or any other thing like that, right? And so, yeah, that's some good advice.
Yeah, my mom had the encyclopedia, like the set. Like the 26, the brown books.
Yes.
The hardcover.
Yes.
I was like, I love it. I was like, just read random ass facts. I went to the library the other day, and I would just go in there to print something off. And I just, went to the computer, and the lady was just like, you 30. I was like, dang. I was like, I know I look 30. She was like, you just knew what you was doing. I was like, oh, that's so crazy. Not me being in the library telling my age. What do you mean?
Like, you got library experience.
And you just you knew what the fuck you was doing. And most people that you can tell niggas just don't go to the library no more, because it's just like, look around. Yeah. That's how you print the fucking thing off.
Yeah, that's why. That's crazy. Yeah, I used to stay in the library. That was my shit. That was definitely my shit. So this is the part of the show where I love to ask guests a random ass question. I got a list of questions that's always growing. I got 71 questions now. No, I'm not going to ask you all them damn questions. But I want you to pick a number between 1 and 71, and I'm going to ask you that question, but I also want you to leave a question behind for future guests to answer.
Okay. All right, so my number is going to be 53.
53. 53 is from previous guest Jamel Ware. And so his question was, why do you feel the need to be normal?
To be money.
Money.
I feel like what normal is, right? So like this first time I witnessed like black people using black people voice, right? Very young age. My mom was a baker since, her last day. And I watched her. I had an earache and I was at work with her. I was in the break room and I watched her like go from like, and I'm just like, that's weird. And my mother is a dark skinned woman. And I was like, why you do that? She was just like, it just makes me softer. And like, she just her going through that and just like breaking it down. I was like, yeah, you're going to have to be whatever society deems normal to move ahead and or to make your ahead less obstacle. And I feel like most of the time we're getting ahead for Bunny.
Oh, and it kind of goes back to what you was talking about originally about your name and being in a restaurant, working in a restaurant. And it's crazy that you actually picked that one. That's this question. Wow. And we code switch all the fucking time. And it's
code switch. There it is.
Yeah. And it's survival, right? It's survival. I wish we can get into a world. I mean, we may not be alive to see it, but I wish there was a world where we didn't have to do that shit. You could just be who the fuck you are. And that's it, right? Thank you for sharing that. So I want to ask you, to leave a question for future guests to answer. What question would you like to leave behind?
Are you beating yourself up for things you can't control?
Are you beating yourself up for things you can't control? Wow. That's a good question. And that's a good question for the time right now too. So do you want the person?
I'm about to literally go and ask myself that.
There you go. Your own homework assignment. There you go.
Amplifying transmitting color voices, yeah, we here making noise, yeah, making noise, yeah.